Produced by Louie Six Cat. Louie Six Cat. Louie Six Cat is a beat-making genius. Don't be shy, subscribe.
Alright guys, here I am at this location, which is a pretty awesome location. Check out this little tunnel here. But what brings me to this location is this right here. Does this look familiar to you? Now the reason I have that bag there is because that is where in the movie Natalie is sitting reading a book, right? That's right there. And Casey is one level up right there talking to some girl. Natalie's sitting here, looks over at him, and then he stops talking to the girl and then walks down through here up to Natalie and starts talking to her. Here is the actual scene from this film location. He literally walks down through here and sits right next to her, and he sits right here. You could tell because I guess this will be a little bit more over, but you could tell because Natalie is here at first and he's over there, but you can see these two cracks right here are right next to Natalie. And if you count all the steps and then line it up, you know that that's exactly where she's sitting. The two kids are sitting right over here, right? It lines up perfectly that these two cracks would be right where Casey sits right next to her, is right here. This is that location, everybody. How awesome is that 30 years later? Now, this location is really cool. Like, I don't know. I guess it's considered an auditorium, right? I think this school has graduations here, but look at the overall view of this thing. It's just, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. And there's like this brook running through here. That's pretty interesting. So right where that bag is, this is an aerial view of pretty much where Natalie would be sitting. It's right there. But I'm doing this because this is such an interesting location. This brook right here. This deserves a video in its own. But we're not here for that. We're here for 7 Minutes in Heaven. And this is where Natalie talks to Casey. So everyone, this is that location where Natalie is sitting right here, right? And Casey comes walking from right here down these steps up to her and sits right here. So check it out. Here's Casey talking to that girl. He's right here. This is that location. Then we see him walk down these steps here. up to Natalie, who's sitting right here. And he sits right here and starts talking to her. How surreal it is to be sitting right here, 30 years later, in this location, where Casey sat here and Natalie sat right here. This is pretty amazing. It really is. Wow. So I placed these two quarters here. There's a quarter here, a quarter here. You probably can't see it right now. I'll zoom in on that. But anyway, and there's a split right here that we can clearly see when Natalie's sitting here by herself. We can see this split. And Casey sits right here. This is that location, 30 years later. And a very awesome location, I might add. Yeah, definitely pretty awesome. I like it. It's always nice when you can find a location like this. Surreal. Natalie sat right here 30 years later. I'm sitting here. Wow. In the movie 7 Minutes in Heaven. Pretty sick. But this is that location where we see Casey come walking from here, right here, this legs, down these two flights of steps up to here. Which these two coins mark the spot. How cool is that? In the movie 7 Minutes in Heaven 30 years ago. Here is the actual scene from this film location. Natalie is sitting right here. Casey's talking to some girl right here. He walks down these steps right here and walks right up to her and sits right there. And we can tell by this split here. But not only that split, just the overall angle of this and the counting of the steps and everything, how everything just is right. This is that location. Awesome. So this is just wider shot of where that takes place. Right here. How cool. Alright, so you know, this is where Natalie sat. This is where Casey sat. These two coins mark that spot. And right here is where Casey stood and then walked down these steps up to her. Now I'm going to sit where Natalie sat so you can see what it's like to be her. This was her view sitting here. You are now Natalie from the movie. You are now Natalie in the movie 7 Minutes in Heaven. Now I'm sitting next to her, and this is where Casey sat. You are now Casey in the movie 7 Minutes in Heaven. And right here is where Casey's talking to that girl. You are now him. This was his view as he was talking to that girl. Then he turns, walks down these steps, right up to Natalie. You are now Casey. Natalie is sitting right at this coin, and you sit right here at this coin. Boom. You're now looking at Natalie. Boom. And that's it. That is this filming location. Subscribe to me channel. Follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. Like, leave a comment. Follow me on social media. Louie 6 Cards.